If you're sick and tired of playing rhythm guitar chords the same boring way, this lesson's for you. My name's Chris, and I've been playing guitar about 25 years, and I've been collecting all these little things I've run into by trial and error, ways I've gotten bored and learned how to break out of my ruts of playing chords. So I'm going to show you some of those today. I want to be focusing on the key of G and all the diatonic chords in the key of G, meaning G, A minor, B minor, C, D, E minor. These are all like the numbered chords that I've taught a lot in my chord family series, how I actually play them. But today's lesson's focused on movement. So how do we make these exciting? How do we connect to music in a deeper way? These, I think, are an invitation for that, right? Because if you play chords the same exact way, you are going to start doing other stuff the same exact way, and music is all about organic, in the here and now, right? And that's what I'm very passionate about in this channel. And I'm going to show you ways that I mix it up. Maybe you know some of these, maybe you don't, but I hope you can stick around and see some of these different voicings. The timestamps will be below, so kind of skip around to different chords. And again, I'm doing key of G chords. So let's go and jump in here with the G chord, the one chord. So let's take a traditional 3-finger G. Still working on my sound here, but hopefully you can hear this. So here, there's a few things we could do. We could kind of just experiment with all these by picking up a finger and seeing what the open string sounds like. So when you're messing with this at first, you might have to just practice occasionally mixing it up when you're strumming. That's cool. And this stuff gets into your subconscious, right, when you do it, so you don't have to memorize it really. This is just kind of promoting a general spirit of adventure. I worked with somebody who was a teacher, not a music teacher actually, but played guitar too, and he said that was his teacher, just picking up his finger and hearing what the change was, right? So that's nice, right? How about moving the second fret here? So a lot of these, that's a little bit more normal kind of movement. Usually the bass note we don't move as much because we want that nice steady sound, but I kind of dig this, right? And it depends on the genre of music here, but really this kind of thinking I think is really helpful for any kind of guitarist. Even rock, whatever you play, you can find ways to mix it up here. I would say the biggest movement I do on a G chord is like this, something like this. So hopefully you can see this. G, oh, it's kind of a C in there, right? Part of a C. So it's kind of a G suspended idea. Right, amen. So I really like that. I do that a lot. I can do just one of those. I usually do the 4 and they're 4, 3. That's really nice. I could do something like this G5 with no third. I could combine that, right? So we're trying to get just like flexible here and to listen for some of the nice in-between notes, right? I love that too, right? It's kind of G add 9. So obviously the key of G is really right for this stuff because we have this G pentatonic scale here and we can just kind of combine stuff. So it's a really cool way to mess with it, right? And this really gets at kind of some key skills in guitar, right? Rhythm, getting your hands to work together. A good thing to mess with, to shoot for, is to kind of get some hammer on and pull off motion. So, and that's kind of timed, right? So I could go like, I could do the same thing on a C chord, we'll get there in a second. But, right, any of that stuff, like, right? So kind of mess with that and see where you feel on that. And it's just really good to kind of crave these kinds of things, crave motion, right? You become a dynamic player when you just like kind of feel bored. Like if you can totally stay on one chord voicing, but then something else has to kind of vary. You have to be dynamic in your strumming more, or your dynamics, or what have you. So that's kind of my approach on this. That's the most of the G ones. Of, get creative. You can kind of get out of the box here. Right, G major 7. So, like, you pull off a lot of this stuff, right? And it really starts to merge rhythm and lead guitar together, which is something I'm trying to sneak in to your tomato sauce. It's a vegetable. All right, so that's really fun to do and kind of get creative with it. There's lots of songs and riffs that use this kind of stuff, but you can add this in whenever you want, right? It could also be bluesy, right? It could be something like that where I'm taking the third, or, right? There's some really nice sounds you can find in G. Moving on to the 2 chord, which hopefully you might know this, A minor, and I would reference the chord family videos again. I'll have those in the description. That just talks about my favorite ways to play those that I find myself playing a lot. And this one is also really, really friendly for the guitar. This key in general is. So you can kind of get away with any of these being picked up, right? So, and this is a good opportunity to review scale degrees. When we're thinking of chord tones, and you're getting into like knowing what some of the numbers people say about chords, sus add 9 or sus 4 and stuff like that, start to think if this is A, here's 4 of A, right? A, B, C, D, A, and then this is a 5, so this is kind of, that's the sound of 4 going to 5, or 7 going to 1. It's really nice sound, right? And then also we have 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can do lots of stuff here. It's kind of good to kind of get your ear listening for those though, right? And it could also be even a note not in the chord you're holding down, like, right, I could go and kind of figure out what's free, right? That's a really cool thing to mess with. Right, so, and again, there's a lot here. I like adding that at the top. And that's all just with that A minor. Of course, there's other possibilities when you get out of this position, and you can start to mess with other ways of moving, but this is getting your foot out in the door, if you will. Okay, now going on 3, so B minor, right? And this is a little bit harder of a chord. Of course, we have this bar chord shape, and this is actually, there's got all the A minor stuff, that's just an A minor shape, right? So, right? I'm generally not a fan of bar chords. I like to say that to guitarists that are learning and trying to get some good advice because just there's a lot of pressure you need. They're variable on technique, kind of how good your technique is, and the guitar, honestly. And I play them when necessary, but I only do it when I really need a great voicing, like a B flat minor, or like some kind of B flat minor. But I tend to not need that chord because I'm tend to playing a good guitar key, right? So I'm just trying to think smarter, not harder, and also just promote resonance on the guitar, which is really open chords typically, unless you want the sound of a bar chord, or if you play like jazz or something, tends to be a little bit more closed and fretted than open. But here we're working for open, really nice movement, right? So going back to B minor, we have this. So all that stuff applies, all the A minor stuff with the bar. Probably wouldn't do too much on this. The bass moves. So imagine a song like, right? Just like, it just gives us something to listen for, right? It's not so static, right? Because again, if your chord's not moving, then something kind of needs to move besides the chord for the listener to be engaged and for us to be engaged mentally. So I would mess with maybe also, that's kind of cool. I kind of like that with that B minor, kind of pulling off that. I don't do a ton of movement on this one. I like that bar kind of stuff on this, but this, that G is like a, kind of makes it sound like another chord. You can find some really cool sounds here, and you can get out of the box, like, right, or, well, like that. So you could go like, if I'm G, I got the B minor. I could kind of play a D there. Right? Just try to get in tune, but oh well. Now 4 chord. So that was B minor. What's our 4 in G? Hopefully you know. It's a good chord to associate with G. When someone's like, hey, the song's in G, you should be like, I know the other chords. C, right? So G, A, B, C. So now the C chord. There's lots you can do here. Again, it's really friendly. Something's out of tune, but. So we have 7, 1 of the chord. 2, 3, and then 4. But we probably wouldn't play this in the key of G, but you could. Like there's this Brandy Carlisle song, if anyone's hip to her. What's it called? By the Way I Forgive You. It's way up the neck, but it's like, this is the key. It kind of uses that 4 sus sound, right? So, and finger picking, right? That I was kind of just went into the finger picking stuff a little bit. These are really great sounding there. You get a lot of that, right? Nice motion and kind of something to listen for again. So here, our C, 7, 1, 2, 3. What was the other one I was going to say? That's pretty much it. Again, you don't do it to the bass too much. You can. Another one you'll see in C, I would say this one's the main one, or even that. Right, and it's like, even because these are in the key of G, all that stuff, it kind of sounds good in the C, right? And that's all, it's also C major pentatonic there. So just kind of experiment. It's really not about thinking, what am I playing? It's more about like following your ear and your childlike curiosity that you hopefully are instilling and finding in yourself. So that's the main stuff I'd think about on that. You could put your pinky down. So that'd be nice. That's fine. It's a little bright for me, but just depends on the context, right? And this stuff comes out if you're like going. Or I could include stuff that doesn't. You could really have some fun with this. So you're trying to investigate some new sounds, right? That's the goal with this video. Now going on to 5, D, right? Our other primary chord, G, C, and D. So many songs, all the songs. And here, there's lots of ones you hear with the D chord, right? It really gives itself away on guitar. You hear this all the time, right? So we have D, D sus 2D, D sus 4D, but you should do them all the time. You don't need to have them written down on a piece of paper, right? They're just constantly, you can do this. And what made me want to teach this lesson is just a general kind of lack of this. I think a lack of developing your sound sometimes that I hear from guitar players. We are all guilty of this, including me. There's kind of this tendency to do the bare minimum sometimes musically, or to be careful. And being careful is like, turns out not a good way to play, in my opinion. And you want to kind of find some organic movement and put some out on the line, take some chances, right? So here, what we got, I would mess with this in the middle. Probably don't do that much. You could do D7. Kind of I don't do that much either, personally, but that's cool. Again, maybe I will. And if I'm playing a melody along with the chord or a part, I might have to do something like that. And then finally this one, which I like this, 4, 5. Well, that's both, that's cool. The most common stuff's that thinnest string. Right, so common, right? So if you're in the key of G, you could do that. You could, that's like that, right? You could do that in bass. D over F sharp. So again, mess with these. You could do and do other D voicings, and I covered those in the chord family thing. Okay, moving on. We have our 6th chord, right? Our relative minor, the most important chord you want to know for minor stuff, right? It covers like most of the minor duties usually. Okay, and this one, so many options, right? E minor is like half the guitar is E minor already. So you get a lot of stuff, ways you could really change it. So both of those come off. Usually don't do it at the same time, but you could do 4th finger. Right, that's Wish You Were Here, right, all that stuff. So Pink Floyd, if you don't know. There's a lot you can do. Thinnest. You can slide too, you know, you can kind of get into that territory of moving your hand. Right, there's a lot of cool other positions you could play. You could just kind of get really creative here. Right, and kind of find just ways you typically wouldn't play in E minor. And like I really like that, right? Moving the 1 to 2. Right, so I'm you can really explore with E minor. You have a lot of coverage. I would mess with the two main ones here, picking them up some. And this has to really do with rhythm, right? Because in order to do anything with any of this, right, it takes like some trial and error and sounding bad and kind of just messing with getting that movement. If you like think this is cool sounding, to kind of just explore, like getting it right, get the timing right, in a groove, right? So like, you kind of really see, can kind of really get off grid, right? And you're adding chords, you're adding notes to chords you typically wouldn't. So if I play this one, so when I'm playing this, let's just say I'm strumming and I'm just like playing some guitar, having some fun, and I'm just like, maybe I'm gonna sing a song or just play along. So something about this, instead of playing just a G chord, it's telling a story, right? There's development. And it might even be something like a longer line. Whatever it is, right? It's just finding some motion. Right, just kind of get creative here. And you can really get off book. You can do stuff you never would have done before. This is so much about trial and error. This is something I think music has a lot to teach us, how to kind of give ourselves grace. It's kind of a way of you practicing this, a non-musical skill, right? But this is a way to do it, to kind of mess with things, to play chords in different ways, try to introduce motion and movement into, in general, your rhythm playing. This will get you thinking more like a lead guitarist too. And you'll be making some pretty nice sounds, even if you're just playing existing songs. This will also help you as a songwriter, kind of find some melody in your chords, if that makes sense. So hopefully this has been a good lesson for you. Please like and subscribe. I'll be back on Wednesdays with videos. I eventually will do more. I'm a teacher. I got to get to winter break, so wish me luck. Have fun with these. Let me know if there's any that you do. You could try to describe them in the comments. That's a fun game, right? To write about music. And sometimes frustrating, but I'll give it my best shot to figure out what you're trying to tell me. If you have any questions on these, I would kind of reference this video and go through and see if you like some of these sounds and ways of thinking. You can come back to it and kind of get some of these into your fingers. So until next time, I'll see you then. Thanks.